Hello traders, welcome to the lesson number 2 of the Zorro software. Let's start, and today let's move forward to begin to code immediately. Not before explaining how to get Zorro. Zorro is a free software for small retailers, I guess like you and me. And once you have downloaded the software, you will have a folder where you can get the installation. So you have that file just to execute Zorro, another file to execute the charts you produce with Zorro. I want to tell you that Zorro is fully customizable, so you can get the interface you like, despite the fact that it seems that Zorro is really very simple interface, but you can customize it. You get also some expert advisors to install in MetaTrader in order to link Zorro and your MT4 platform. Those are the DLL files. And what's important now is to know that you will get some folders. In those folders, you have the data. Here, you will store what is called the par files. That's form files. You can have there some outputs. You will produce. For instance, if you want to store the higher highs of the last 14 day sessions, you can produce with Zorro an Excel file, and you will find it here. I will move faster. In history, you get all the data. In include, it's also very important. You know that you can make your own libraries, your custom libraries, and you need to put them here. So for some routines you will use day after day. You have also a folder with the log. Log is really very important. I advise you to produce for all the EA and a log in case you need to know what is going on. And also very, very important, a folder called strategy. In that folder, and also folders inside that folder, there you will storage all the strategies. All the codes you will be producing, and you will find it there. So my advice is to create a link. You can place it in your desktop, and then to get straight to that folder will be very easy thing for you. Once we know how to install Zorro and just starting it, you get the interface. I mentioned before it's very simple. You have in top the connection between Zorro and your broker, just for real trading. Then in that window, we get some sliders. It's not time to talk about, but you have that window where you have a direct link to the folder strategy. So before using strategy, you can open, choose which one you want to use, In the right, you can choose the pair and also the time frame. In the middle, you get that buttons. You will be using most test. Test is just to check how is working that strategy. You get trade in case you want to put real money on it. And beside test, you get edit. Edit is just to open the notepad in order to write the code. And you get also result in case you want to open a chart just to see the entries, the exits, and other plots. You have also a button to open the online help from Zorro. And finally, it's not time to talk about a button just to optimize it. In this case, when you are doing the train, or you can have some buttons like skip and so on. It's not time. Okay, so now we can see, let's test Donchian channel strategy. I have just produced for you in euro in the hourly chart. Let's test. Okay, what do we have? We have the total points. We have the points in the current open trade, and we can see the total wins. It's 1,700, and the total loss is more or less 300 trades lost. This is the window to that Zorro is communicating and giving you some messages. And here we can see the annual return of that strategy. It's above 1,600 and so on. So let's open the notepad. Let's see that strategy. We can click here. That is my strategy, a very simple one. And I think it's all for now. So let's open also. Once we have test the strategy, we can check result. What Zorro will produce will give you that information with a total win. It's winning about that strategy in 90% of the cases, and other useful information. At the same time, it's opening the Zorro chart where you can plot many things. In this case, it's a strategy that is bouncing, and a scalper just taking a few points when the price, in this case, that is a loss. So what can we see? We can see here the price. We can see some plots. I draw like the channel. I plot a dot. This is the equity and the drawdown. And also we can see the entries. That is a short entry. It's plot in green because he get the 15 points target. And that is a long entry. We get them in red because it was a loss of 20 points and so on. Okay, so let's move quickly to what I want to talk to you about, which is the starting point. By the way, don't remember, for more information, to visit my website. You can get wikizorro.com. You can get a lot of information. And let's start. What does a Zorro script has? Okay, well, it has some variable and constants. It's what we are going to talk about today. It has also some comments. It has some operations, let's say, for instance, 1 plus 1 is 2, or so on. We have some expressions. We have the statements that will be the body of our code. And finally, we get all the functions. Functions are some routines, some tasks, like, for instance, entry in the market, or, for instance, take the stop loss, or, for instance, I don't know, print something in the message box. Those functions are the strong point of Zorro and are very important. So let's see what kind of functions can we have in Zorro. We can have functions regarding maths. For instance, we can have a function which can take 3. That would be that function, a math function. We can have functions in trading. I mentioned before, enter long at market, or, for instance, reverse, and so on. We can have also some input-output functions. For instance, I mentioned before, just put in an Excel file the middle price for the last 20 sessions. Another very important function are the analytical ones. That's it. Indicators has a lot of indicators. For instance, we have just seen that an analytical function, in this case, it's an indicator. It's calculating the Donchian channel. We have also another function regarding what it is, the Windows, the operating system, and of course we can have our custom-made functions for the routine in order not to being forced to do it day after day. Okay, so let's start today with the beginning. That's it. The variable and constants is the starting point. And what is a variable? Variable is just a symbol, could be a word, just a letter. It's a symbol which is associated to a value. We can give a value to that symbol. But the important thing is that value can change along the time. For instance, let's say that a variable could be the quantity of lots. I can open now 3 lots, but maybe tomorrow I want to open in the same expert advisor 5. It has changed, and for that reason, that is a variable. So let's start coding immediately, and let's say file, new, and let's put some double slash. That is just to indicate my first code. And it's not now time, but all the problems you will, all the codes you will see that start with this function. It's not time now to talk about. So let's start. Okay, I mentioned before that a variable is something like this. X equal 5. That is the variable. Variable is letter X, and that's the constant. The constant in this case is number 5. Okay, what it is important is to know that all variables in Zorro need to be declared. That's it. We need to tell our computer where the value of that variable will be stored. Otherwise, the compiler, when the compiler will need it in the future, will not find where it is. So it's some kind of place where to store information. So let's start by the declaration of that variable. Let's say that that variable is x. Okay, like this is a statement. Let's put a semicolon after it. Don't forget also to put in that statement too. So, what have we done until now? So far, we have the declaration of the variable, and we have not only that, but also initialization. That's it. We have given value to that variable. You need to know that what we can do is doing all at the same time. That's it. Equal 5. Okay. My advice, if you want to meet to agreement with me, is to use capital letters for all variables. So another variable could be like this. Let's say my dog. Say my advice is to give to all variables capital letters. Why? In order to distinguish against the functions. Functions we will put not capital letters. Okay, so let's see what kind of, we need to know until now what is a variable. We have learned that we need, before beginning, to make a declaration, but after that we need to give value and initialize that variable. So what kind of variables can we have? The most common use will be that one, var. It's some kind of Boolean, and we will use to store prices or, for instance, technical indications. Let's say that variable, I want current, let's say current value, say 1, 3. That's it. That is that kind of var. Beside that, we have that it's not decimal number, and we will use that kind of variable to count. For instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say I equal 0. Another very common, it's a very common variable will be the string. And let's say that city, and we will use it for words. Okay. We have also chart, and that will be just for a single letter. Let's say A. And finally, a very important variable will be bars. In this case, we will store, that will be some kind of array, some kind of matrix, and we will store many values one after another. So that will be a very common variable. Let's see, prices. Okay. Okay, let me check if I forgot something. Okay. Okay, I think it's okay for now. Okay, that's my bar in string char prices. That's the name of my array. So will be a series of prices, and let's see. Let's see. Could be the close of the price. Not important for now. We have also Boolean. We'll not talk about it now. And okay, what is important regarding variables? Variables. Let's see. Hold on a minute. Let's store, file, save, and let's say my expert advisor .c, because in case you forget to put .c, Zorro will put it for you. Okay, so let me check. Stay there. Okay, what is important to know? Let's see what happens. Let's say that I will do my dog, and let's say it's 45. So let's give value to my dog. My dog will be 3. Let's see what happens. Let's store and test. We have an error telling that my dog doesn't exist. In fact, exists because I have just declared. The problem is that Zorro, when you declare a variable, distinguish between capital letters and not capital letters. So let's immediately change that and check if it's okay. Okay, it's okay for now. Need to remember also that the maximum letters you can use is 30. And at the same times, there are some words that you cannot use because the compiler is using already. Like, for instance, entry, trail, commission, spread, and so on. Another advice I can give you is not to declare variables like this. Variable 03. Let's say variable say something like that. Why? Because probably that expert advice you will be using maybe in the next coming months, and for sure you will not remember what does that variable mean. So my best, better to use some words like this. Entry price. Much better than the other case. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and let's meet in the next lesson. Thank you.